this is the card that I made in my last video, which includes the distressing and the stitching and some bitty sparkles, and I'm not sure if you can see the shine on the Miss You, but I did some heat embossing as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and use those same techniques to deck out this card here. So let's go ahead and get started. For sake of video time, I've gone ahead and pre-cut my pieces here, and I think that'll help out a lot in the long run. My last video ended up a bit longer than I had hoped, but I did all of the extra stuff, so I'm expecting this one to kind of run a little bit on the long side as well, so I guess we will see. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in. I think I'm going to go ahead and get the stamping done first like I did the last time. Hopefully this time I won't forget to use my embossing buddy. So we're going to go ahead and start with, I'm going to go ahead and do this little guy. And let's see, the hearts. I'm going to put the hearts somewhere in the middle somehow and hope they don't stick to my fingers. Like so, maybe? And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that in raspberry. And that looks pretty good. And yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do this one over here again. And see how that turns out. Alright, it's a little bit darker, but that's okay. Variation is good. Alright. Go ahead and clean that off. I love this little stamp set. I love the font and how you can use these on pocket scrapbooking and all kinds of stuff. Which, speaking of that, I gotta get myself back in the scrapbooking mode. I got a lot of photos to catch up on. And when I mean a lot of photos, I mean probably tens of thousands of photos. So, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and, yeah, I need to use this guy for this part, because I will be doing the embossing. I don't think I need more than one. I do love you. Try to get that lined up straight. There we go. Alright, that looks pretty good. And I'm just going to push that back in that corner. And I'm going to use the embossing buddy again, just in case. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and use my Versamark. And I'm going to stamp that. And then I'm going to pull that up and I'm going to go ahead and emboss it. Okay. Try to get some of this extra stuff off. And I have myself a little paintbrush here that I kind of go in and get some of the bigger pieces out of the way. Or at least it worked before, not so much now. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and pause you guys so that I can heat emboss this. Alrighty, so I went ahead and heat embossed that. I don't know if you can see the shine on there. And I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. Pretty sure that's all the embossing that I'm going to do. Set that aside. And we're going to work with this again with more stamping. Alright, clean this off. It's on here somewhere. Where is it? Oh, I've got it upside down. Of course I do. There we go. And we're going for lots. And we gotta get this back in here. Alright. And this is gonna go right down here. Alright. And then this one is going to be, it's meant to be Lagoon, but I don't have Lagoon, so I went ahead and traded for Glacier. It seemed to work just fine on my last set, so luckily this is a two-toned piece of blue here, so it works pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and stamp it. And I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to clean that off, and I'm going to go ahead and get the dots with the heart. And this is going to be done with the thistle color. Ooh, that is not straight. So we will just line it up on that one. How about that? Will that work? Maybe. Like so. Yep, that'll work. Alright, and here's this hole. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that down. And that's perfect. I would have to say I make a whole lot less mistakes when I have this stamp positioning tool. It definitely saves a lot of redos and time. And so next we're going to go ahead and put this away. And next we're going to dovetail this. Maybe. I'm not very good at dovetailing by sight or without folding my paper, so I guess we'll see how this works. Yep, pretty much. It's like story of my life. Almost got it. And then you gotta trim it up a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and go for there, there, and there. Yeah. Okay, that's gonna just do it. It's totally crooked and it's gonna drive me nuts, but I'm gonna let it be. Oh, my little pieces. Here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna put this one on last. Maybe by then I'll figure out a way to fix it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the distressing around the edges. I do need to turn this off a little bit, evidently. And I'm going to need to dovetail this too, which means I don't think I need to go in that far. Okay, I really hope this is center. Ooh. Okay, so there's that piece. And I'm going to go ahead and use my edge distresser, and I'm going to distress some of the edges. Now, the black, I think I'm just going to distress this top corner here, because that goes along the bottom, and I don't want to distress around the whole thing that I know of. Could change very quickly. So I'm just going to go ahead and distress this. And yes, this does leave a bit of a mess, but the results are generally worth it. I'm going to go a little bit farther in just in case. And let's see. I'm going to do the tops and bottoms and sides of this. I guess this would be one way to cover up any dovetail imperfections, if you needed to. Sorry about that. I've been sick for the past week and a half, and so I've been sniffling and coughing, and I'm surprised I haven't cleared my throat a million times so far just in this short video, because it was kind of rough. So hopefully I'm getting over it now that I speak of clearing my throat. And yes, it does kind of warp your papers when you distress, just because of the heat from your hands. Oh, look at that. I even did that. Maybe next time I'm going to have to distress first. If I had one of those lovely erasers, my auntie got me one. It's like an erase it all kind of craft eraser. It worked really well for erasing boo-boos like that. But I have no clue what happened to it. I've moved a couple of times and reorganized my craft space over and over again, and I still can't find it. So I guess we'll see. And I'm going to go ahead and distress this one as well. and I'm not sure if I want to do stitching on this one or not. The last one I did, I loved the cross stitching. I don't know if I want to do cross stitching on this one as well. It was pretty efficient as far as time was concerned, and it added just the right amount of extra embellishment, so I guess we'll have to see once I get all this laid down. And dump this in my garbage, and that would be that, and then this goes on here. I just love how the distressing works. It's just, I don't know, it works perfect every time. Let me see if I can erase that. And I cannot erase it without smearing something. So I guess I'm not going to redo it because you guys will get the gist. So, of course, my nose would have to start running right now, wouldn't it? Okay. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put this temporarily together. My head is screaming, redo this piece, but it just, I don't wanna. I just don't wanna. Alright, so there's that, and let's see. You know, I could probably use one of my white pens, gel pens, to clean that up. I've seen that done before. I just don't know if it works. Ooh. Alright, well, it worked a little bit. I guess we'll just leave it at that. And then we will see how this works. And then this one goes this way. And you can use this as the guide, and this tells you kind of exactly where it needs to be. It is kind of self-explanatory, thankfully. Makes it pretty easy. And then this goes here. I think, you know, instead of the shimmer trim, I'm going to go ahead and do some stitching. I really like the idea of stitching. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I think I want to stitch along the purple. And then I think I'm going to stitch a faux dovetailed piece. Maybe. Or I might just do, you know, I might mimic the line and just do 2 lines. That's a better idea. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do stitching here, and I will use my close to my heart ruler and my homemade foam pad, and I've got thread, but I don't know, it's just white embroidery thread, and I'm going to go ahead and use this, and you don't technically have to use this guide. I just like my stitches being even, as even as I can. And you can line it up along these lines here, and it keeps it the same distance all the way along, which is kind of cool. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go with that there. I'm just going to stitch right along here, and you could use longer stitches if you wanted and do every other thing. I'm going to go ahead and try to get all of these pierced all the way along here, and hope that's all of them. Yay, I actually did all of them. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and what I'm going to do next is, I'm not sure if I can zoom in for this or not. Maybe? The reflection's not too bad. Alright, there we go. And now I just got to remember to make sure that goes back. So I'm going to line up this hole here with the last hole that I poked. And then I'm going to line up this line here in the stitching guide, or on the ruler, along with the edge of my dovetail. So, sorry for my head, I just want to make sure that I get it in the right spot. Alright, and then I'm just going to go ahead, and that one's already done, so I'm going to just go up to the point of the dovetail and stop, and then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to kind of do the same thing. I'm going to line it up, and I think I'm going to flip my thing over so that I can line it up with the edge. And let me make sure I'm still in. Yes. I'm going to peek my head in there. Okay, so that's lined up. Now I'm going to line up. Here, let me see if I can sit that in there. There we go. Yeah, and that's not fully lined up with that. So I think we're just going to, in that case, when this doesn't line up with the edge, you just make sure it's straight all the way down, and then you go with that. So I'm going to go ahead and go down, and I don't want to go to the very last one because then you're going to go off your paper, and we want to make sure that there's the right amount of space between the last one, because it's going to start our whole new row. The last one on the edge of our paper. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to line it up. Sorry for my head. I just want to make sure that this one gets to where it's supposed to go. Now this one is a little bit in farther, and so I'm just going to go ahead and line that up as best I can. And then I'm going to go ahead and go. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch all of these after that. And I think I'm going to go ahead, once I get these all poked, I'm going to like line it up and kind of mark where I want. I hope that's all of them. Yay, that's all of them. So now I have that all the way around there. And I could totally just leave it like that. In fact, I might try it like that and see if I don't need the actual stitching or not, because I may not. I may like it without the actual stitching. So I'm going to line that up and line this up and then line this up. What do you think? Do you think we need actual stitching? I actually kind of like it without the actual stitching, so I'm not going to use a thread this time. I'm just going to do the holes, and but I am on that one, and then I am going to use the thread on the black, just because I want to be able to have something that mimics the shimmer trim behind it. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Not sure what I want to mark it with. I guess I could use this little pencil if it has lead. Then we're going to do right here. If I can actually mark it, and say right here. Do a 1/4 inch between the two, and that should work just fine. So I should, with my ruler, I should be able to keep that at a straight line. And so I'm gonna go ahead and use this same technique. Line it up with my marks. Make sure it's straight. I'm not exactly sure. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. And I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and poke along there. I'm debating whether I want the longer stitch or the shorter stitch. I'm feeling the longer stitch for some reason. So I'm going to go ahead and just scoot this over and line up with one of my marks, and then make sure it's straight. Looks pretty straight to me, so I'm going to go ahead and poke those. And if your ruler ever gets loose, like moves around at all, you can always just line it back up with the holes that you already have poked, and it should make it into a straight line again. Okay, so I'm going to scoot this up to the next mark, which should be... Another way you can make sure that it's straight is you can line these lines that's on the ruler up with your last row that you worked on, and that should work out pretty well too. So it's kind of like a bullseye. If you can get that cross mark right where you had it, or right over the top of your previous poke, then you should be golden. Just make sure you have it lined up on both ends of the ruler, because if you don't, then you'll end up with a wonky line, which wonky lines can always turn out to be something nice. You just have to be able to accept it. I'm a little harsh on myself when it comes to accepting unplanned mishaps, changes, I guess is what you could call them. Look at that. That's got white on it already. And I went a little high. But that's okay, because technically I could do it just like that and have the one white and then have the second white there, and that would look great too. Alright, I think that's what I'm going to go with. I like that. Okay, so this one does not get stitched, but this one does. And I'm just going to do the top here, and I'm gonna go ahead and just walk you through the whole thing with me. Alrighty. So I have in my last video I split this one strand into 2 pieces. So the floss comes with 6 pieces altogether, and so I've got 3. I used 3 on the last one. And usually that kind of depends on how much of that color you want included. If you want a very vibrant line or stitch, then you want to go with the whole 6. If you want something very dainty and just a little tiny bit of color, I would go with 1. I've never actually used 1, but it's definitely doable. And then my go-to is 2 or 3. Personally, I like mine a bit more dainty, but there's always those times when you need them to be more strong, have more strength, or have more, I would say, potency or vibrancy. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the top one, and I think I'm just going to go like 1/4 of the way back or 1/3 of the way back. And I'm going to go ahead and tape that down with some tape that I don't care much for, which every tape has their own place, but I don't really have use for this particular color with stars. I mean, maybe, but in that case, I probably wouldn't be using this blue color. I don't know. I just don't see me using it. Granted, I didn't see myself using the black and white polka dot either, and I found a spot for it, and I like it. So now I gotta find myself a new, don't care much for washi tape that's cheap. So I'm not sure. I just totally forgot that I was zoomed in. See, look at that. I knew I'd forget it, didn't I? Just gotta make sure I stay in frame, and that would help out a lot. And this is called a running stitch, and it's pretty simple to do, and if you miss one, you can always just reach back and just put your thread through, which is nice, your needle through. I've done that a few times. And I'm going to go ahead and reach all the way around to the end so that my stitch goes off the edge of the paper. Like that. It's pretty bright, isn't it? Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and get started on the other side. I hope I really like it when my thread lasts through the whole thing, but if it doesn't, you just tape it off and tape on another one. And so I'm going to go ahead and pause this, I think, so that it's not taking up so much of our time. And I will be back as soon as I am done. And I think I may have to get a whole nother thread, which again would take up more time, more of my video time. I try to keep my videos around 30 minutes so that they're 30 or under, so that they're not extremely long for you guys. But yeah, I'm definitely going to need more threads, so maybe I'll just show you guys how to do that since I'm going fairly quickly. Now, with regular embroidery, you generally need room for knot at the end, so you can't really use up the thread as far as you could possibly go because you have to actually have room to tie it. But with this, I can generally use up as much as I can possibly squeeze out of the thread, which means I generally get it to a very short amount, and then I go in backwards, because then that gets the thread in first. I'm not sure if this is going to work a second time, but I'll give it a shot. It gets the thread in first. Yeah, that's the end of that one. Okay, so what I would do is I would just find my tape again. And it doesn't matter which way you tape it off. And then, so that's what we've got so far. And I'm going to go ahead and get another, I thought I had another thread here. Don't need a whole lot of thread. Ooh, that was loud. And so what I usually do, I don't know if you can see this. Let's see if it can clear up for me. on, you can do it. Okay, never mind the marks on my fingers. So I just take it and I kind of open it up like that. And then 3 of them will they just kind of wrap around each other. And they're gonna just stick to each other. And then I just split them and just kind of run my finger through them and kind of pull with my other fingers, just kind of straighten it out a little bit. And then we've got 2 pieces. It takes a little bit more patience when you've got a longer thread, but this works really great. I'm just going to thread the needle real quick and get it started. And then we'll tape this back up in this direction as well so it's not sticking out. Ooh, because you can see through these, I don't want to stick any of the tape, the blue tape, over the top of those because the blue will shine through. So I try to keep it where it doesn't have any holes. And then you just keep going. I guess you guys are going to walk with me through this whole thing, huh? Or sit with me, I guess, because I'm not really going anywhere. Alright, and I think I've got just the right amount of thread for this last piece. Oop. And then we'll straighten that out. I totally wasn't on camera, was I? Alright, and then we're going to take it down. If I can find the end of it. Alright, and there we go. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so that we can go ahead and put my card together. Let's see. And this one, since it has so much stitching, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that it's adhered down well. I don't want it going anywhere. Make sure that's the bottom. Alright, and then this one will go here, and I do need to trim that off, don't I? Just a little bit. Okay, that should work. And I'm just trying to make sure that this lines up with this here. Sorry about that. And then we will do this one here. So that's going to go there. It already looks so different from the original. I'm not sure what I want to do. let's just put her on there. I'm gonna stick it up with 3D foam tape. So, do you think I should have any stitching on that? I don't have any of the thistle thread, but I'm sure I could come up with something that's that color. I do feel like it's not finished, but I'm wondering if the bling would help with that. I still feel like it needs stitching. So, I'm going to put these back on here. And that's not the right one. I was wondering if I was going to get the right one or not. First try. That is one great thing about these, is that they really do... You can put them back on if you're not ready to adhere them yet. And I think I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. And we'll just push that down where we want it. I think I'm just going to do, I don't even need this. I'm just going to go ahead and do some lines. That one's a little crooked. Oh well. And then we'll just do 2 more. And then we'll do one down here. Okay, so I have that second piece of thread that I'll use for this. Maybe. If I can get it in the... There we go. And then we're just going to sort of... I'm just going to go ahead and stitch it. I think this one I'm actually going to stitch back, if I can see it. Oh, I can't. Oh, yes I can. I'm going to do 3 up here in this corner, I think. Yep, definitely going to do 3. And then I'm going to swing all the way down here and do the 2. Maybe. Might swing down here and do the 2. Or do the 1, I mean. Perhaps I'm needing 2, huh? Alright, I like that. Actually, you know what? This is another way you could do it. Oh, that's way too far in. Okay, well, I guess that's what I get now. And then we'll do something over here. And something a little further south like that. Okay. If I have enough room. See, look at that. My head knew I wanted 2 instead of 1 before I did. Alright. Last one. Perfect. Okay. So that is where I'm going to leave that one. I don't know if you can see that or not. And we're going to just tape that off. Like so. Then we can take these off. And this coming across here, it will just hold it down where it's supposed to be, which is no big deal. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and look at this and make sure I've got it where it's supposed to be. About there, I think. I'll put that up. And then we've got, let's see, put this away. And I think we're going to do this one here on Pop Dots too. I just feel like it needs something. I think that might be too small. Doesn't it feel like it needs something? I'm just not sure what. Maybe it needs to be up on foam dots. Or foam tape, I guess is what they're called, huh? Alright. Stick that in the center. Like so. And now for the bling. And I'm not sure what I want to do for the bling. It had... This one shows that it's got bling here, 2 of these, and I'm just not sure if I like that. Not sure at all. So I think what I want to do is maybe do one of these here and here, like I did on the other one. I don't know. Seems like too much. And this with all of the... That's not that bad. I think I'll do that. Or I could do the green. The green would look nice too, I think. I think I may like the green better. A little green there, and a little green there, and then we'll do, I need to use those. I haven't even used one of those. Oh, I think my next batch of cards will have these. I'll be using those. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put one of these here, and one of these here, and try to make sure that they're even. Like that. Alrighty. I think that's it. In fact, I don't even think I want the second one on there. I think I like it just the one on the one side. Okay, so this is my remake of the second card in the Miss You Workshop Your Way card making kit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this and maybe learned something or was inspired to create. And I will talk to you guys later in my next card video, which is coming up fairly soon. So I will see you guys later. Bye.